DASI project aims to improve accountability and also to ensure that there's inclusion of marginalized groups.
So SDN, we were basically established to address some of the challenges bedeviling the Niger Delta, primarily in governance, peace and security, economic diversification, and also the environment. We always try to make sure that we have adequate evidence of what the problems really are. How are young persons being affected by these problems? How are women being affected? What about the persons with disabilities?
Rivers State, where the echoes of history have long shaped the present. Here, in the heart of Nigeria's Niger Delta, a powerful transformation is unfolding. The Deepening Accountability and Strengthening Inclusion project, known as DASI by SDN, has successfully built on years of dedication, empowering the voices of those long unheard.
The DASI program has really changed so many things in me. It has made me to come out as a disabled person, to know that I'm not just a disabled, but I'm a special person. And it has made me to impact myself in politics.
By the help of the SDN, today in Ogbolo, our voice has been heard. As then, we have been silent. But today, our voice are on all over the Ogbolo by the help of the SDN.
It has also made us to be open, to have met some type of people that, we do not even envisage, to meet. Exception of that, that is also one key thing, it helps us to identify failings, in governance.
In the lead up to the 2023 elections, the DASI project laid the groundwork for meaningful change. With unwavering determination, it focused on increasing political participation for women, youth, and persons with disabilities.
Today, they want to give you the opportunity so that they will hear your voice to speak out. Disabled people, nobody they give them a chance to even contest or to even. It gets sometimes we say they don't even give them a chance to vote.
Groups historically marginalized from public life, DASI sought to secure policy commitments from political aspirants and parties to ensure that the demands of these communities would not be ignored.
Saying that it is high time that women and young people, youth, become a part of the system. So women and youth need to be in the process. When I mean in the process, they have to also belong to political parties. They also have to gain positions within the political party.
Internships, how do you also create graduate programs? How do you also ensure that you're creating space for young people to be in your employ? How do you look at your future? I think for me that's important, but also for women, for persons with disabilities, being able to recognize that, people do have their own skill set, and just because the person is one gender, or the person does not seem to be of age, or the person, is a person with disabilities, it doesn't negate the fact that they can't have anything to offer. I think that discrimination is something that needs to be addressed, and again, that's across the board.
Now, in the aftermath of the elections, the DASI project has gone further, creating lasting bridges between citizens and their representatives.
A success of that particular engagement is the fact that they have a representative of the PWD community who is the PA to the CTC, the Caretaker Committee Chairman, and he's currently vying for a position in his ward as a councillor in the forthcoming local government elections.
It has initiated a process of accountability that ensures those elected fulfill the promises they made, ensuring that the voices of all, especially the most vulnerable, youth, women and people with disabilities, are heard.
I personally, I don't play politics, but our principals, the SDN, said we should go, and, associate ourselves, with political parties, and not only just enrolling as members of political parties, but we should try and make sure that we are members of the kitchen cabinet where decisions are being made. And that was why, I, put myself in politics. And at the same time, I was, the secretary, to the Labour Party, the LGA.
I mean, there have been several development initiatives that have been channeled towards young people in the States in the past, but none of them have been formed in a policy document. So I feel the policy document is long overdue, and it's a good thing that we now have a youth policy document that will be able to, every young person can look at that as theirs.
Central to this journey have been the WEYOU Ambassadors, 48 young leaders, joined by civil society organizations and private sector representatives. Together, they've worked tirelessly to follow up on the commitments made by elected officials. At the heart of their mission lies the Women and Youth Agenda, a powerful charter of policy, demands that spans vital issues, from the economy and environment to security and inclusion in governance.
Policies are important for governance, okay, whether good or bad. Bad policies produce bad governance, and good policies, would produce invariably good governance.
Policies are supposed to be the guardrails, for good governance. Without policies or regulations, legislations, there will be chaos.
Policy is always what every society, every government should put first. It's supposed to be the driving force, actually.
These demands were crafted through consultations with 24 diverse communities and shaped by the aspirations of citizens from all walks of life. They call for a more inclusive society, starting with a bold goal, ensuring that at least 35% of elected and appointed positions are held by women. The DASI project has already spearheaded the drafting of the Rivers State Gender Policy, working hand in hand with the Ministry of Women Affairs, the Ministry of Justice, and civil society organizations.
It should be inclusive. A lot of things should be inclusive. Initiatives that is brought should include everyone that will go about it. Empowerment. You need to make sure that the empowerment is circulated.
We must have a balanced society, and for our society to be balanced, we must pay critical interest in those imbalanced sectors of our society.
We have a system in Nigeria where important parts of the population, young people, women, people with disabilities, are often excluded or struggle to get their voices heard. And so the sort of system we need in Nigeria to let that happen is a system that is, number one, conscious of the rights of minority groups, of marginalized groups within a democratic setting.
Through their advocacy, the team also championed the rights of persons with disabilities, pushing for the adoption of the 2018 national law prohibiting discrimination and calling for amendments to the outdated Rivers State Disability Welfare Enhancement Law of 2011. For the youth, their voice continues to grow, as the DASI project has played a key role in revising and implementing the Rivers State Youth Policy.
If in the normal way that we describe democracy as government of the people, by the people and for the people, are the people really part of governance? Really, inclusion is a big issue, and when we talk of inclusion now, it spreads across different levels. There is women inclusion, there is youth inclusion, there is PWD inclusion, there is inclusion for everybody.
Not just people with disability, we even look at gender-related issues, where you have the different sex being downplayed as against the preferred sex and all of that. So those form the fulcrum of what we do.
But beyond representation, the DASI project has focused on holding elected leaders accountable for their promises. The demand for tax accountability is being driven by advocates who are working to harmonize multiple taxes, reduce barriers to business, and ensure that public funds are used transparently.
The champion, who is a PWD beauty, she actually has been advocating for the advancement of persons with disability. Prior to the 2023 election, she actually mobilized a lot of persons, both in her community and women and young people at large to register. She was given a new wheelchair because the one she was on was actually, in a deplorable state. So she got that. And she has also been given automatic employment.
The results have been extraordinary. Citizens are now engaging more actively with their representatives. Civil society organizations are stronger than ever, working side by side with government officials to ensure policy priorities, like those found in the Women and Youth Agenda, are not just promises on paper, but realities on the ground.
In terms of governance, in terms of policies of government, in various ministries, SDM has made that as a fulcrum.
It is really encouraging, the work that SDN has done in pushing for inclusion within the particular context of Rivers State. And when we did start working with SDN, the context was much broader, the Niger Delta. And we think SDN's partnership has been very crucial in achieving some of the outcomes that we've seen, especially in Rivers State.
Well, SDN, I owe them a lot of regards. SDN is very, very, very important to us. And what they have facilitated us in achieving, I can tell you, words are not enough to applaud them.
We're also grateful to SDN and I think the Commonwealth Office for the support they've given us to engage with critical stakeholders, including people in the informal sector.
The greatest challenge we have as a disabled person is implementation in our organization, in our community. But we thank God for SDM as clear road for us in Okrika local government. SDM has made, they have talked to everybody, the kingmakers, the decision makers, the chiefs. So anywhere we go as a disabled, things are so very free, possible for us.
The DASI project is more than a success story. It is a testament to what can happen when citizens are empowered, when leaders are held accountable, and when the excluded are brought into the fold of decision-making. Together, women, youth, persons with disabilities, and civil society have shaped a new chapter in the history of Rivers State, a chapter defined by inclusion, equity, and a shared commitment to a brighter future. The journey continues. This is just the beginning.